podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
And just yesterday, I flew back from my bachelorette weekend in Disney World and on the Disney cruise ship. So I'm super excited. So we are going to recap the whole trip now. Although this episode is just going to be the Disney World part. And then we're going to do another episode of me recapping the Disney Cruise Line part as well. So just me talking about Disney World. For my bachelorette, I just want to shout out to all of my friends who came. So my bachelorette, I'm having a bachelorette of 9 people. And so 7 of them came with me on my actual bachelor trip in Disney World. So only 2 of them weren't able to come. And so I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who came because it was so sweet of everyone who did come. And I feel like everyone had a good time. Hopefully everyone had a good time. So we're going to recap everything now, but especially as well to my childhood friends, I would say, to Shannon and Tyler, since they were like the crux people who planned a lot of this, like the logistical sides of things. Honestly, like went so above and beyond to make this trip so special to me. So I love you both so much. So thank you both. So we left on the trip, and the irony, and this is going to be a very raw podcast because I have no notes. I'm literally just going to look at the photos that I took, and we're just going to go photo by photo essentially. So when we got down there, we were staying at All Star Sports. So we had 2 rooms at All Star Sports. I was actually so excited to stay at All Star Sports because I'd never even seen the All Star resorts before. Right. So there are 3 All Stars. There's the sports, music, and movies. Again, we were staying at sports. When I asked Tyler about it at a different part of the trip, he told me it had to do with how the rooms were set up. So he said, I think movies and music, they have different types of rooms at certain price points where like the room setups would not really be conducive for the 8 people who were going, including myself. So that's why we ended up at sports, and it was really great. And so the first thing we did when we got down there is that we landed pretty early, and when we were down there, the room was not ready, of course. So we literally all just got ready to leave, like in the lobby of the resort. The very typical, I feel like, vacation thing to do is like, all right, we can't leave, so it's time for us to get fully rechanged and apply sunscreen here in the lobby. So that's what we did. And my friend Ariana was also there because she flew in around the same time of us. So the first thing we did was that we changed and we went over to Disney Springs. Again, the very typical first day travel day. Everyone comes over to Disney Springs. And so for a lot of my friends, they had not been to Disney World in many years. If they had gone, it was when they were a child, like maybe like between the ages of 10 to 15. And only one of my friends, my friend Caitlin, she had not been at all in her entire life. And so as adults, the only people who had been was myself and my friend Tyler. But even then, Tyler hadn't been to all of the parks as an adult. He'd only been to a few of them and done a handful of things at the parks. So we went to Disney Springs. It was fun because it's mainly just shopping. So everyone had a really good time shopping. Shannon had never seen the Rainforest Cafe. So we of course stopped in at the Rainforest Cafe. That was like, everyone loved the Rainforest Cafe. Yeah. It's like, looking back, it's kind of funny because it's just like, I love the Rainforest cool. Cafe too. Yes. And it shocks me that they closed the one in New Jersey because there aren't that many Rainforest Cafes. No. And I was just like, why are they closing it? Like, I can't imagine it's doing poorly. Like, it's such a great restaurant. So when we got there, we all realized we didn't bring body soap with us. So we bought soap at Basin. Just looking at my photos, and I remember I bought my soap at Basin, which is also very good too. And at this point, that is when my 3 friends from Boston, they had flown in and they had met us in Disney Springs. We went to Goofy's Candy Co. So Goofy's Candy Co, something new there is that you can they say in quotes, make your own Mickey bar or make your own like Rice Krispie treat or treats or whatever. Oh, wow. They basically would just open up the Mickey bar for you, and then you can just put toppings on it. That's basically all it is. And so Tyler decided to do that. So he got the Mickey bar. He added, I don't know everything that he added on it, but in my photo, he has like some chocolate sauce on it, some sprinkles, some cookie crumbs. And then they decided there's like, if you wanted, like you could add whipped cream and like a cherry if you wanted to, you could add other sauces. So he added the whipped cream. And the funniest part about it is that I filmed him when he got it, and then he took the first bite and he was like, oh, you don't want to film me eating it? And I was just like, okay. So I took the camera back out and filmed him eating it. And as he did, he like tipped it over and the whipped cream just fell off the other side.
Oh,
and
I saw that picture. Yes.
I have it on video too. And it was so funny because all of us started laughing and I'm just like, you told me to film. Okay. It's like, you said, are you going to film me eating? And I was like, sure. So that was honestly so funny because his face was just like so hilarious when he was like, I can't believe you just dropped the whipped cream. And so I have a lot of photos of everyone taking photos of the Rainforest Cafe when like the volcano goes off. Okay. Now, I guess I'll try to only say this once because we could say this for every 2 seconds if we wanted to, but it was very hot when we were down there. It was in the mid 90s the whole time, and it was very humid the whole time too. So it was very hot. And basically all of my friends have very fragile skin, I would say. Out of all of them, I probably have the least fragile skin. But yeah, so reapplying the sunscreen, honestly, every hour, it's like everyone was. It's like, that's how you know you've become an adult, when you're like, time for me to reapply my sunscreen and be an adult. And so when the Rainforest Cafe volcano was going off, it was like you were sitting on like lava. It was so hot in the direct sun with the fire right in front of you. Or like, this is a bit much. Like, this was so hot. Like, it was just so funny though, honestly. So all right, so we went to the boat house for dinner. We did make a reservation. We ate at 4 p.m. because there was 8 of us. So we're getting a normal time to eat, which is not possible. Although if we made the reservation sooner, we definitely could have. However, just again, the way the logistical planning of planning the trip, we weren't in the 60-day window, like before the 60-day window. So of course, like we got the reservation when we could.
I would think by then everybody was hungry anyway from traveling.
Yeah, and the boathouse was great. And I had seen I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the little blue martini with the rubber ducky that's in it. It's like the Roz duck or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but I really wanted that drink. So I got that drink and it was so cute. And so I took a lot of photos with it. And that was like my first alcoholic beverage in like, honestly, a couple months. I haven't drinking anything in so long. I drank about half of it. It did taste really good. So I would definitely recommend it. And I know it's the first drink on the drink menu. So whatever the first drink on the drink menu is, and it has like the word duck in it. And that's how you know you're going to get the little rubber ducky in it.
Ducky floating.
And so it was very good. It kind of tasted like almost if you've had a blue raspberry Jolly Rancher, kind of like that melted down is what it tasted like. It wasn't too alcoholic-y either, I would say. I did not finish it, but I did drink a lot of it. To eat, we got a lot of different appetizers. We got like 2 different types of French fries. We got chips and dip. Some people got shrimp cocktail. And then I think all of us had different levels of salad. Like everyone's got some kind of salad, some kind of side. Some people got the sliders. I know the filet mignon sliders. Some people got some of the fish dishes or the fish tacos. So overall, very good though. Again, the Boathouse is one of the best restaurants, honestly. So I'd always recommend the Boathouse. We had a great server as well. Both of our servers were really good. It was funny because we had one server and then eventually he came over and be like, all right, guys, thanks for coming in. But so you know, we're having a shift change. So here's your new server. Bye. He left, which is funny because my friend Tyler is currently a server as well. And he was like, I usually don't tell my tables when there's a shift change. I just leave and the next person just takes on over.
Who are you?
So I thought that was funny. So then we went walking around again. We actually went back to Goofy's Candy Co. because some people want to do the Dole Whip flights that you can do. So they get the ice cream with the alcohol in it. So some people did that. And then I decided to do a Rice Krispie treat. Then like make your own Rice Krispie treat.
Oh, you made your own. Okay.
So I did that. And then they basically start out with the plain Rice Krispie treat and then you can dip it in milk chocolate or dark chocolate. I did milk chocolate because in the moment I was like, I love dark chocolate, but sometimes dark chocolate doesn't taste good when it's like mixed with other flavors. So I was like, well, I think the milk chocolate is normally what is in the park. So I'm just going to do milk chocolate. I added mini M&Ms and I added, it said on the menu, it was like cookie crumble, I think is what it was called. I'm trying to like pull up the photo right now. But yeah, but I essentially had picked that and I picked the chocolate cookie crumbs is what it was called. So for some reason, when I read chocolate cookie crumbs, I thought that was like chocolate chip cookie crumbs. It was not.
It was chocolate cookie.
It was Oreo crumbs, essentially.
Right. That's what I thought.
And so
it was gonna
I
be.
didn't know that because I read it wrong in the moment. So I didn't realize that that's what it was. So I got my Rice Krispie treat. For mine, they put it in like a little baggie sort of. Shannon got the Mickey bar thing. So she just had hers on a plate that she was eating. And she was much more careful about the whipped cream. So she didn't drop hers. But what happened was that when I was eating the thing, like you said, how come the things don't stick to it?
Right.
It doesn't stick to it.
Right.
That's the answer, is that nothing was sticking to it.
I was gonna say,
and
how did they get it all that stuff to stick?
I took. Some people were using the restroom, and I took it out. And I wanted to take my first bite, and I wanted to try to film it, but then I couldn't film it because as soon as I lifted it up, there was a big gust of wind, and the cookie crumble went everywhere. When I say everywhere, it was all over me. My friend Ariane had given me a new like crossbody bag with like the little Mickey on it, all over the bag. This new white bag she'd just given me. I was like, you've got to be kidding me! It was everywhere, but it was also really funny too. I literally took a photo of the ground where all the cookie crumble was because it was like a pile of cookie crumble was on the ground. Like that's how much cookie crumble, like the Oreo crumble was on the ground. It was so funny though. And so yeah, if I was ever going to do that again, I would probably not do the Oreo crumble, of course. And I think I'm just kind of a plain Jane. I would just get the regular.
Don't go outside and eat it.
I would just get the regular Rice Krispie with the chocolate dip and the M&Ms because that's all I really want. I don't really need any of the toppings personally, but maybe I would try one of like the Mickey bars.
Well, the
or something like
logistics
that
are kind of hard. That's what I said. How did they get it to all stay? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So after that, we went back to the resort. At that point, the rooms were ready. So obviously we checked into the rooms. I would say, so again, it was 4 and 4 in each of the rooms. And Tyler did request a joint room. So our rooms were connected through the little door.
That's good.
So we were all technically all together, which is really nice. I think it's really interesting how those rooms work because if the door is closed, but it's not locked, you can hear the other room. But somehow I think there's some kind of mechanism that when you lock the door to the other room, there's like a sealant that like door seals it. So if we both had our locks on, we could not hear the other room basically at all, honestly, given we weren't like that loud or anything. Right. But if we had even the doors just closed, but they were not locked, we could hear them talking in the other room. So I just thought that was interesting in case you ever have an adjoining room. It's like good to know, I suppose.
Make sure you lock the door.
Yeah, or not keep it locked if there's like kids in the room that you want to hear them to make sure they're okay or something. So again, I just thought it was interesting. So then we went to the pool for a little bit. I did not go in the pool. Honestly, I'm not a big swimmer, but everyone else went into the pool. So I have some footage from that. And then I left the pool a little bit early because at this point it was almost 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, I'm tired. Flight leaving to Florida. We were up at 3:30 in the morning to leave to Florida. So from 3:30 in the morning now to 9 p.m. I was like, I got to go to bed. And also I told them all, y'all are getting up early in the morning. So like, remember,
Amanda had them on a schedule.
Like, yeah, you are going ride to ride with no breaks, no water, no food. So
I kept telling everybody at home, I said, Amanda's probably running those people all over Disney.
And I was running them ragged. That's for sure. So with love, but yeah, running them all ragged. But I think they all had fun though. So it's okay. So they all actually went to, I didn't know this until I got back. So when I got back to the room, my friend Mia and Allegra also were back in the room too, because we wanted to start taking showers. It's funny because not all of us are like shower people, but you had to, because it was so sweaty during the whole day. Like you just had to take a shower when you got back. So I showered. I showered really quickly too, because I didn't know when they were going to come back. They didn't come back for a while because they ended up going to the food to get some food and some snacks. So some people got ice cream and some people got pretzels. And then I have another photo here because Tyler got a margarita, and I was not there for this, but the story was that he got this orange margarita. They're walking to pay for it. He immediately trips and falls, and the margarita spills all over him. It looks like he peed himself. The photo is so funny. He's probably mad I'm going to put this on the podcast, but whatever. So I have the photo of it. So funny. What was funnier was that the cast member did like nothing to help. So the cast member saw this happen. They were like, she was like, oh, that sucks. And they were like, oh, like, where are their napkins? She's like, oh, well, there used to be napkins over here, but now they're not.
That's very unusual.
So Tyler was just like, where do I go find napkins?
Oh,
so he ended up finding napkins, and he cleaned up the floor, obviously, because there was margarita everywhere, and it was like 9:00 at night.
Aww.
But it was so funny when they came back and they told me this. So I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So, but all right. So then that was that night. We went to bed. We put Lilo and Stitch on to go to bed, and we kind of all watched Lilo and Stitch until we fell asleep. And then it was funny because it's like I am very sensitive to light when I sleep. So the light was kind of bothering me at first, but I was so tired I instantly just fell asleep. But the next morning, Shannon told me that she said she normally likes to fall asleep to like white noise. But she's like, I didn't realize that Act 3 of that movie is so loud, because it's like all the aliens fighting each other. They're like, there's alien ships crashing into each
and
other.
You slept right through it?
She said she kept waking up because she kept hearing explosions because there's explosions in the movie. And I thought that was so funny because it was just like I slept through it. Like it's like once I like turned away from the light, I fell asleep instantly. So all right, the next morning, everyone's up bright and early, 7 a.m. We are out of the room walking towards the buses. Well, actually, first we stopped at the foodery again. Just some people got some snacks and some coffee there. Then we went to the buses. The buses are right outside of the Art of Sports, so it was very easy to get to the bus. And our first stop was Animal Kingdom. By 7:45, we were in Animal Kingdom. So because we were staying on property, we could get in at 7:30 because the park opens at 8. So we got in. The way that they did it was that you could kind of enter the park, but you couldn't enter certain areas of the park if you were not staying on property. But they would only scan one person's band. So for instance, we were all together, so they scanned like my band or Tyler's card or something like that, and then we would all go in. So I guess in theory, if you were with people who are not staying on property, if they just scanned the one band of who was,
they could go with you.
Okay. So again, just
so you're not being penalized because you have people going with you.
Yeah, exactly. They just scanned one, and then that's fine.
Okay, that's
so
nice to know.
Which I thought at first they were going to scan all of us. He's like, no, we just need one in your party. So I guess again, just something good to know. We did take some photos because I was paying for Lightning Lane for both days. I got confused in what it said because when you pay for Lightning Lane, it says you automatically get Photo Pass for the Lightning Lane. So I thought we had Photo Pass. It turns out you only have the Photo Pass for the ride photos. So we took some photos at Photo Pass in front of the Tree of Life, and then I realized I'd have to pay for those photos. The photos, it's like $72 for the day. I was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to pay for them. If I post them, they're just going to be with the Photo Pass watermark. Right. It's fine. But yeah, I just didn't realize that it is just the ride photos, because otherwise, for instance, so later on in the week, me, Shannon, and Tyler went back to Epcot, just us, and we went on rides. We saw the photos, but they had the Photo Pass watermark on them, and you'd have to pay again for those individual photos because we didn't have Lightning Lane. So that's what that meant. I didn't realize that for some reason, so it was good to know. We stopped at the Starbucks to get some more coffee for everyone, some like real coffee, and then we went to Kilimanjaro Safari. We did not wait that long, of course, because it was still pretty early in the morning, but we did weave through the entire line. Like,
did you see the baby giraffe?
So we went on the safari. The safari is really great. I don't think we saw the baby giraffe. I think our host would have pointed it out if we saw Tucker. So I don't think we saw him, but we did see giraffes, of course. We saw zebras. We saw all of the major animals that you get to see. We saw the lions. They were all, some of them were sitting up and some of them were sleeping. And those 3 lions are new to Animal Kingdom still. So it was fun to see them. After that, we had a Lightning Lane at Flight of Passage. So we walked over to Pandora. And so that was really fun because a few of my friends really wanted to just like see Pandora. So it was fun to see Pandora. And when we went on that ride, again, super fun. Everyone loved it. Everyone thought that was such one of the coolest rides ever. I do think Flight of Passage is one of the coolest rides.
I thought it was. I didn't want to go on it. Didn't want to go on it when first. And when I got on it, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Disney Springs, Shannon and Tyler were like, what are you most excited for this week? And I said, honestly, just to see people's reactions to things, just because I've seen it so many times and I love it. But to see people's first reactions to something is just really fun to see too. And there is another ride in Pandora, but we did not get to the Navi River journey because the line was too long. So we decided to leave that. I think we headed over, I think Mia got a pretzel and we went to Dinosaur. For me, Dinosaur was a must do because that ride is closing at the end of 2025. And so I knew this was my last chance to go on Dinosaur. So I really wanted to go on it. Everyone really loved Dinosaur. The ride photo from this is so funny. Mia has great expressions. Her expression as if she's really seeing a dinosaur like in real life. But everyone loved Dinosaur as well too, which was very fun. And I'm glad I got to go on Dinosaur one last time. I actually filmed the whole thing as well, which before I always had a hard time filming it because the ride's so dark that it's like you can't really film it. But I am looking forward to see how they change it to the Indiana Jones ride. Like I'm looking forward to that, but I will miss Dinosaur a lot, I will say. So Dinoland USA looks crazy. There's just nothing. It's just a bunch of construction equipment right now in that area.
They're doing everything.
Yeah, the only thing that's there, it's like you walk along all the board, like the side of like the borders for it, for like the ride, the restaurant, and like the boneyard is still there, of course, too. So I wonder when they'll take that stuff down. But after that, we headed over to Expedition Everest. At this point, the wait set, I think it was like 40 to 50 minutes or something like that. I thought about doing single rider, but the single rider line looked really long too. So we decided just to get on the regular line. Okay. So we got on the regular line, we walked through it. It wasn't too bad. And we got on that ride. Again, everyone really loved that ride too. I feel like at that moment, that was a fan favorite until they went on other rides. And then that one got pushed down the line. But for me, I still love Expedition Everest. It's still one of my favorites. So at this point, we were starting to run out of time a little bit because I kind of had planned the lightning lanes is that we would need to leave Animal Kingdom at 11 to make our first lightning lane around like 12:30ish for Tron in Magic Kingdom. So by time we didn't get to go through the Maharaja Trek to see Bakso. That was the one big thing we did not get to do. We just ran out of time, unfortunately. Right. So I ushered everyone to the buses. I was like, time to go get, time to scoot our little boots to the buses. We got on the bus. We went back and forth because the bus for the Contemporary was there, but I really wanted the bus to the Polynesian was the thing. So we debated for a second. We ended up doing the Contemporary bus. Also, that walk back was tough because it was in the sun, of course. So at least when we got on the bus was very cool. So we were like, screw it. We're getting on this bus. It was very cool. Right. We took the bus to the Contemporary, and I actually really liked it too in that sense because I told them, like, this is what I normally do. It's like, I always take the bus to Contemporary. Everyone gets to see the Contemporary Resort, which is where I normally stay. Right. So that was really cool to see. We went up into, the main atrium type of room. We took the monorail then from the Contemporary all the way to Magic Kingdom. The monorail was packed when we first got on, of course, but then everyone got off at the Polynesian, which is so funny. The whole car got off of the Polynesian. It was so funny, honestly.
Going to something.
Yeah, like some people got off at taking transportation, but everyone else got on. And like to the point, it was just the 8 of us in our whole car at Polynesian. And then people got on, of course, but it was just us for a little bit. And that's where I have that video of Allegra dancing. Because she's just like, she's like, wow, there's so much space now. So, it was so funny. So then we get into the parks. Everyone sees the castle for the first time. I don't think any tears were shed, but it was very magical, of course, when you see the castle for the first time. Also, probably because I was telling him, I was like, all right, keep moving. We got to get to Tron. So no time to relax. No one gets to relax on this trip. You're going from ride to ride. No time to breathe. Let's go. So we get to Tron. Doing the lockers for the first time is confusing because when you get into the Tron line, you scan your baggage to open a locker, and then when you get off the ride, you open the locker on the other side. And when I was trying to explain that in the lightning lane, it's kind of hard to explain in words unless you see it. And when you're in the regular queue, there's this little video that plays. It shows you the visual of how it's going to work. But because we were in lightning lane, of course, because we're spoiled, we didn't see the visual. So I was trying to explain to them, I was like, when we get off, that's what's going to be. Because I only know that it was a shock because when we got our stuff afterwards, everyone was just like, oh my God, that's how it worked. So like it was like a shock to everyone to be like, like that was what I was trying to explain, that I was doing very poorly because I didn't know how to explain it. But everyone loved Tron, I would say too. That was like the fan favorite for a lot of people was Tron. Tron was really fun. I do think Tron's a great coaster. I think I just think if Tron was like a minute to 90 seconds longer, it would be way higher on my list. It's just a very short roller coaster is all in my opinion, but it's a very fun coaster. And again, the idea of like sitting, on the motorcycle type thing, like on your tummy, it's just a really cool sensation, I think, overall. So after we did Tron, again, Tron is a single pass. So we headed over to It's a Small World because I wanted like a quick multi-pass one so I could start rebooking the multi-pass. So we went to It's a Small World, which was honestly so fun because I know sometimes people don't like rides like that because it's kind of like, oh, like this is like a boring kiddie ride. A lot of people don't like the song or like they find dolls to be creepy or something like that. Everyone loved the ride, but specifically Mia loved It's a Small World. Really? It was like her favorite ride. Like she was favorites. She was like in awe in every room. And like Caitlin took the cutest photos of her just being like, oh my God, like in wonder of like looking around at all the dolls. She was so excited too because just the way we got into the boats, of course, it was 4 and 4. The side she was on the end, we passed Mia's Jewish, so we passed the 2 Jewish dolls. Oh, so getting married and stuff? So she got a really good photo of the Jewish dolls. She was like, oh my gosh, like my people are here. like they're here. Like I don't know why she was so shocked by that. I was like, of course, everyone's represented on this ride. But I realized too, if you've never been on it, you wouldn't know that. So it was very exciting for her when she saw the two Jewish Jewish couples there. And so, yeah,
cool.
so everyone left us a small world, which I was glad as well, because again, you just never know sometimes it's a small world, but I knew I really wanted to do It's a Small World. So now at this point, I don't have it, of course, in the photos, but this is when I started to rebook lightning lanes. And this is also the idea. It's like, all right, in my head, I'm like, all right, let's think through the day. It's like, at what time are we going to do certain things? If lightning lanes overlap, it's like you can change some of them. It's like, what rides do we want to prioritize? We couldn't do Peter Pan's Flight, obviously, because that one's always the first one booked up. And we couldn't really do Jungle Cruise either. So we didn't do those two rides. So after It's a Small World, we headed over to Liberty Square Market, our favorite place. Well, first we went to the bathroom and Tangled Toilets. That was like Shannon's thing. She really wanted to see the Tangled Toilets. Saw the Tangled Toilets, reapplied our sunscreen, headed over to Liberty Square Market. We all got a snack. I got a Mickey pretzel. People got pretzels or pickles. There's also hot dogs there. Some people got a hot dog. Some people got Powerades or like the little frozen drinks that they have there. Honestly, I don't drink those types of drinks. And then we did Haunted Mansion. And so Haunted Mansion, again, such a fan favorite ride. I feel like that's one of the coolest rides ever. So everyone really loved Haunted Mansion. And when we got out, we went into Memento Mori. And I didn't know this, but the smallest hidden Mickey in all of Disney World is on the wallpaper on Memento Mori. So I saw that. Oh, wow. And I didn't even know that was there. Shannon overheard the cast member telling someone else that, and she told me, you should come look at this. And then I saw it that way. Cool. So I took a little photo and a video of that. And then Caitlin and Mia bought these big fans inside of that thing because they were so hot. They just wanted to fan themselves off. Then we headed over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Went on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The funniest part of this ride was that, again, at this point, so Allison doesn't really do roller coasters or anything like that, so she wasn't going on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So there's 7 of us, but I still knew even with 7 of us, we would get a full log. So Ariana and Caitlin wanted to get wet, so they were in the front row. And then Shannon and Tyler sat in front of us because I didn't want to get soaked. So I was just like, all right, I'll sit in the third row. Mia also did not really want to get wet, so she was in third row with me, and Allegra really didn't want to get wet, so Allegra was in the last row. But you kind of, and I told everyone, it's like, it'll be very obvious when we get to the big drop. I always tell people that it's going to be super obvious. And I say you can get wet other times of the ride, but again, the big drop is usually the big thing. So if you know the ride, you kind of go up the first little thing, you go around, you go up the first one. And then when you're out by what used to be the vegetable patches in the ride, you kind of come over this bump and then you dip into the water where like the log is fully floating, goes through. The way that we dipped into the water sloshed over the side of the log. And I still see it in my mind's eye of this one big splash coming towards me and Mia. And it hit me in like the eye, like my right eye. And I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like my eye just got wet. I turned to Mia. Mia is soaking wet. Like from her head to her waist, soaking wet. It is hilarious because when you see her ride photo, she's soaking wet in the ride photo. And we haven't even done the drop yet. Did she think it was hilarious? She did think it was funny. Yeah, she did think it was funny that she was like, I'm going to sit in the third row so I don't get too wet. Soaking wet from like us dipping into the ride. It was so funny though. Like me and her were hysterically laughing. And then Shannon was like, what's going on? She turned around, saw Mia was soaking wet. I feel like, how did that happen? But it's like, again, and I feel like Mia got more wet than like anyone on that ride, honestly. If someone's going to get wet, it was going to be her. But it was just so funny though. But again, everyone loved Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now I will say 3 of the animatronics on this ride were broken, which I think is pretty bad. Mm-hmm. The first one that was broken was Louie, and he looked scary when he was broken because he's kind of just like hung over. Wow. So it's just like, it looked weird. And let me tell you, his like costume, I guess, so to speak, looked ripped up. Like he looked rough, honestly, when he was not moving. We also had 2 Tianas that were broken too. So one in the middle of the ride, and then the final, after you do the big drop, you go through the final room. You think they're afraid to stop it to fix this? I'm assuming so. I don't know why. Maybe they don't know how to fix this, what I'm thinking, because in the final room, Tiana's in like this really pretty bejeweled green dress, and that one was also broken, which is pretty sad that that's the big final room that people would take like photos of, especially. I even have a photo of it. And I was going to take a video of everyone like seeing that room too, and I didn't because she was broken. And it's weird because everyone else is moving and it's just her that's broken. And so luckily everyone thought it was like kind of funny. Even in It's a Small World, some of the dolls were broken, which is like, again, kind of funny too when you see them not moving. But It's a Small World has so many more dolls that it's not as noticeable. It's not that big of a deal. But to have 3 main animatronics on a brand new ride, like it's pretty sad, honestly. So I was saying is that is pretty disappointing that like 3 of them were not working. And again, it's like kind of creepy when they're not working too, because they're just like still, and like especially the Louis one was real weird because his neck was at a weird angle. But the Tiana was, she was just kind of like as if she was standing there not blinking. So it's like kind of weird. But I do think that is something that Disney needs to address, or like close the ride and like fix it, because that is a major ride, and to have 3 major animatronics not working, like if it's one, it's like, all right, it's just one, like whatever, like it is what it is. But it's like to have 3 major ones not working and 2 of them being Tiana is like pretty sad. So just my opinion, I suppose, but still pretty sad, I think, overall. So all right, after this, I knew kind of everyone needed a little bit of a break, so not to go ride to ride. So I was like, all right, let's head over to the shops. So we headed over to Main Street and we went through all of the shops shops. So that was really fun, honestly. They're doing some construction in the shops, which I didn't know about. So some of the shop, like the areas of the shops were a little bit closed off. So some people got souvenirs, and then we walked around for a little bit. We went through all of the shops for sure. And then we headed over to Cosmic Rays. So one of me and Caitlin's number one things to see was Sunny Eclipse. They really wanted to see Sunny Eclipse. So I was like, perfect. Cosmic Rays is like one of the top quick services.
Right.
When we got to Cosmic Rays, it was around 4:00. So it was like, I feel like it's like the early dinner rush is 4:00, right? And it was like packed in Cosmic Rays, that's for sure. So you know how there used to be there are 3 bays in Cosmic Rays. 2 of those bays are now fully for mobile order. So there's only 1 bay that you can actually order food at.
Oh, wow.
And so we got online to order food, and then we told everyone, like half of us got online to order food, and the other half were like, try to go find a table, preferably inside, preferably by Sunny Eclipse. So they left and they did find a table. And then I texted them the menu, and they were like, we're going to do the mobile order from like the table.
Oh, okay.
So we all they got their food a little bit sooner than us, but it was kind of all around the same time when we all got our food, like waiting on the physical line versus doing the mobile order. And so yeah, and I kind of forgot you could do mobile order because we don't really do mobile order that often, honestly, but that's also because we don't eat a lot of the quick services.
We don't eat a lot of the quick service.
Yeah, we tend to eat a lot of table service restaurants. And with a group this big, there were reservations I could have gotten for table service, but I just chose not to do them just for timing and for, again, like expense and things like that. It eats up a lot of the day. Yeah, so I don't want us to be tied to certain things. Like I would pick the rides.
Cosmic Rays is a great place to have
That's what I'm saying. Like, I picked the rides over doing a table service restaurant because I did consider it, and there were reservations we could have gotten free. But again, it's like, all right, to loosen up the day for rides, it's like, we're not going to do that. We'll just fit in the quick service when we can. So we did. So we sat, we had our food. I had my mac and cheese and my French fries. It was very good, honestly. I also got the Parmesan truffle fries they have at Cosmic Rays too. Also very good. It was kind of funny because I had 2 things of French fries. So I was just like, whatever, it is what it is. But it was very good though. And then from there, we had our lightning lane for Buzz Lightyear's Space Raider, or what's the ride officially called? Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. Now this was funny because sometimes before we go on a ride, people would be like, what kind of ride is this? And because the word spin was in the ride, some people were saying it's like, oh, I don't really want to like spin around, like, you know, like the teacups. And I told them, it's like, oh no, it's like you control the spin. So it's not like you're spinning around and listening, you have no control. Like it's like if you don't want to spin that much, you don't have to spin at all.
Even I can go on that.
Yeah, it's like you can just keep it still the whole time and just shoot the little gun on the targets where you please. It's like otherwise, it's like if you want to spin back and forth, you can. So it's up to you. And it was funny because Shannon and Tyler, I think, were in front or behind me and Caitlin, and they were spinning around. At one point, they were just spinning for fun, and then Caitlin wanted to spin for fun. I was like, no, we are not spinning for fun. Sorry to Caitlin, but we're not doing that. So. No, it was a little bit, I do have this in the vlog. I don't have it written down though. It is a little cheaty of me because I've been on the ride before, right? So all the targets are different amounts of points. Right. So I know which targets are worth the most points. So I had over 450,000 points by the time we were done. So I did win out of all my friends, of course. But again, kind of cheating because at the end I was like,
you used your expertise.
Yeah. At the end I did
It's not cheating. You used your expertise.
I know, because at the end I did ask everyone, I was like, how many points did you get? And we kind of went through. Some people did have a lot, like over 200,000, but I definitely had the
Not
most.
like me, who comes out with like 13,000.
Well, some people, only had about like 20,000. They're like, how'd you get so many points? And then some people were like, I didn't know how to aim. Like aiming is really hard. I'm like, no, aiming is hard in this ride. Like it's not an easy ride, that's for sure. No. But I do love the ride, and they did say they are revamping this ride, so they are going to change it where you can lift the gun out of the holster eventually. So whenever they refurbish the ride, it's going to change, which will be good. So it'll make it easier to play the game, I would say, overall. But that was fun. And then we headed over to the People Mover, which the People Mover is the only ride technically that doesn't have lightning lane. So we got in the People Mover ride, and it was very exciting because we saw some of my family friends in when I was in the line for it, and then we're not even supposed to be in Magic Kingdom that day. They happened to just be there, and like we ran into them. Like it's a small world, truly. So it was exciting to see them. We went on the People Mover. I think that was one of Allison's favorite rides. She loved the People Mover for sure. So, and I understand. I love the People Mover too. I think it is one of the best rides. I think it can be very underrated, and I think it's one of those rides where the Disney community 100% loves and adores, and there's merchandise for it and all this stuff. But outside of the Disney community, sometimes it's one of those like, that's a random ride.
Right. So, yeah. Why do you want to do that?
So from there, then we headed over to our Lightning Lane on the Little Mermaid ride. I definitely wanted to go on the Little Mermaid ride. A lot of my friends are Little Mermaid fans, but also I just think that ride is so good. I just think they did a really good job on it.
I love the room where they do all the singing.
It was funny too, because as we were walking over to it, we passed the Tomorrowland Speedway, and some people were asking us like, what is that ride? I'm like, oh, you drive in a little car essentially, but I was like, the car doesn't go very fast and it's very hard to drive.
It's not worth it.
2 of my friends don't have driver's licenses though, so I was like, we can go on if you want to. I was like, we do not have to. And yeah, we did not do it. Also, that ride smells bad because uses gasoline.
That ride is not
we didn't do
worth
that.
it. Yeah.
But it was just funny because I remember we like talked about it on our way over. So then from here, then we had a lightning lane on the magic carpet ride. So then we headed over to Adventureland. We kind of walked through the castle. We took some more photos. We went in some like the shops around that area too. Went on the magic carpet ride. I didn't know this, but sometimes the camel spits water when you're on that ride.
Oh, really?
And so if you keep your carpet at a certain like level, it will spit water on you, which I didn't know.
So don't tell me Mia got wet again.
Mia didn't come on. Mia decided she didn't want to spin in a circle. So she was the only one who didn't go on that ride. So she didn't want to spin in a circle. But yeah, so we were in our carpets. It was fun. I got some footage of that. And then Tyler got hit right in the eye because he was like,
that's what I mean.
Tyler's like, you're missing the water. And then it was hard to control the thing to move it. So anyway, so then we headed over to Pirates of the Caribbean. So Pirates of the Caribbean is my favorite ride in Magic Kingdom, at least. It was my favorite ride in all of Disney World until Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Then I got booted down a level, but Pirates of the Caribbean. Remember the Pirates of the Caribbean? Now this was a funny ride because when we got on, as we were getting into the ride, there is that one drop in the ride, and then there's the cannonballs in the ride, which I knew that.
And you get wet.
As we got on, Mia got in line first to get into the boat. And as we were standing about to get on, I said to Mia, I was like, did you want to get wet on this ride? I was like, it's okay if you don't. And she was like, should I not be on the end? I was like, no, if you don't want to get wet, do not be on the ends. At first, I thought about not telling them that could happen because I thought it would be funny. But I was like, no, Mia got really wet on Tiana's bayou to make sure. So we switched places a little bit so that way anyone who wanted to get wet was on the ends. Yeah. So we did that. I was one of the people on the ends because I didn't really care if I got wet. And so I went on the ride. Now, everyone knows it's been my dream to be evacuated off a Disney ride. And so I've always wanted to be evacuated off a Disney ride. It has never happened. 30 years of going to the parks, never been evacuated off the ride. So the first thing I noticed on the ride was that the mist didn't come where you see the projection on the mist of Blackbeard. That didn't happen.
Oh, wow.
There also was no ride photo. So before they drop, they usually take the little photo.
Yeah,
no ride photo either. I also noticed that some of the voiceovers in the ride were not happening. So we do the drop again in there. The cannonballs are going off. A lot of us did get wet, honestly, from the cannonballs, which is very funny. Now we get to the room where like the characters are kind of spinning in a circle, chasing each other.
Yeah.
And when we get there, I can see the boat in front. You can kind of see the boat in front of you for a while, but I realized that is the third to last room, is the people spinning in a circle. Then you have the fire room, and then you have the final, like the prison room and the Jack Sparrow room. So it's like the third to last room, technically, kind of fourth to last if you can count Jack Sparrow as the final room. The boats were backed up to that point, to the people spinning around. And so when we got there, then suddenly the announcement starts saying that like the ride is temporarily stopped, and it's like, you know, your boat's not going to be moving. And that's when I turned around and realized there were no boats after us. We were the last boat to leave the dock, so to speak, and there was no one behind us. Now, as we're sitting there, suddenly the boats all start going backwards. Everyone in front of us, we're all slowly going backwards, and we're going back through the room, which was really funny because some of them were saying, like, wow, the Jack Sparrow animatronic looks great. So then we saw him many a times, right? As we backed up. Aww. Then we started going forward again for a while, and then we stopped, and we're right by like where the cats are. I only know this because we were there for so long. I did take a lot of vlog of this as well. Yeah. Then we started backing up again. We went forward again. Then just our boat backed up for some reason. We like backed up really far, just our boat. We're like, how come the other boats aren't doing that? Then we floated back forward again, just naturally. And then eventually we did not get evacuated off the ride. Eventually we just started moving forward naturally. But it was really funny. We were stopped for maybe about 10 minutes on the ride, just going back and forth.
And you thought, oh, this is my chance.
Which was funny too, because Mia was saying that me and a few of the others were saying that they really liked rides where it's like, I like when I just sit in a dark room and Disney just shows me things in dark rooms. And you know, like the Disney dark rides is what we call them. But it was also funny too, because I was like the only ride Shannon thought was kind of creepy. She like didn't really like. And of course, that's the ride we were trapped on for like 10 extra minutes, just like floating back and forth in the water, not knowing what's happening. And it's funny because again, I'm the Disney expert, so to speak, out of my friend group. So they're saying it's like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening? I was like, guys, I have no idea.
It's not the way it's supposed to go.
I was like, I've never had this happen to me before. But we eventually, you know, we got off the ride. And then after that, we headed over to the Enchanted Tiki Room, which is one of my favorite shows. That was the only show we got to do just for timing wise, but that was my number one show I wanted to do. And so we saw the Enchanted Tiki Room. I did sing to them the Flower Song because that's my favorite song in that ride. And everyone agreed that is the best song. So at this point, it is already now like 8 o'clock. And it's funny because the sun was shining high, so it didn't feel like it was 8 o'clock, but it was 8 o'clock. And the fireworks were at 9:20 that night. I thought they were at 9, but for some reason they were 9:20. I think it's just the way the sun sets.
Because they have to wait for the sun to set.
And so that is when I was like, all right, it's time for us all to to get our desserts, and we're gonna like find spots on Main Street essentially. So a lot of the group wanted the citrus swirl or like the Dole Whips from the Aloha aisle, or not the Aloha aisle, the Sunshine Tree Tars. So a lot of people waited on that, but at this point, because of timing, I was like, all right, we're gonna divide and conquer, because I don't like the citrus swirl. I've never actually had it, but I don't like orange flavors that much. So I was like, I knew I wouldn't really like it, so I didn't get it. But I really wanted a Mickey bar, so I was like, all right, we're gonna go to the main, back to the castle essentially, and we're gonna wait on the cart. Oh, and then some people wanted a churro, so I think Allegra wanted a churro. So I was like, all right, well, there's a cart that has churros and Mickey bars. So we walked over to that cart. Line was very long for the cart, so I was like, thank goodness we decided to divide and conquer. I walked over to where one of my favorite spots to see the castle is, and I had Tyler take some photos. This was funny though, because we all had the buttons, right? So when we got there, Tyler got us all like, we're celebrating buttons. So they all had the we're celebrating, and I had the happily ever after button with like the purple with the two little rings on it, and they had the we're celebrating. As me and Tyler were walking, just the two of us, a cast member so the whole day cast members were saying congratulations and everything, or like who are you celebrating. But I think the cast member thought me and Tyler were married, because he said the way he phrased it was like, oh, congratulations you two, or like something like that. And Tyler was just like, I think he thought like we got married. So it's just like not me and my husband just walking over to the castle to take photos. So that was kind of the joke too, being that like me and Tyler were now married because of that one cast member. But it was very cute, because on their buttons it said Amanda's Bachelorette. So often if they were not with me, I would see them just say like kind of talking to cast member, then they would all just suddenly point to me, because a lot of times the cast member would be like, who's Amanda? They'd be like, oh, Amanda, like I'm Amanda type of thing. And on this day I was wearing my bride shirt plus white shorts, and I had like my white mini ears. They all had like blue mini ears, because that's my wedding colors. So I did look like the bride, so to speak, in that sense. So we all got our snacks, we ate our snacks, and then we got to then we just went to Main Street and watched the fireworks. Everyone loved the fireworks. I think everyone cried. I think all 8 of us cried at least once. Maybe not Allegra. I'm not sure if Allegra cried, because she was all the way in the front, so I'm not sure if she did. But I know I cried for sure. So we all cried during Happily Ever After. Again, I think that is like the best fireworks show. I do think Disney has done such a great job on Happily Ever After. I took so many photos and videos of everyone watching the fireworks show as well, which was super cute. And then from there, we headed back to the resort. So we went down to the buses, and it's funny because I normally stay at Contemporary Boardwalk, so it's like we had to check the number to see where the number was for Artist Sports. Now this is something I thought was funny, in the sense that when we take the bus for the Contemporary resort, the Contemporary always shares with Fort Wilderness, and so sometimes it's like annoying, first world problems. It's annoying that you have to share, actually go to Fort Wilderness first, and then you have to wait your stop. The Art of Sports, or all of the sport, sports, the All-Star Sports, music and movies, all the All-Stars have their own buses. So when we're waiting for the bus just takes you right there.
Oh, wow.
And that's it. They all, everywhere, it's their own private bus, which was nice in that sense, because like, oh, there's not more stops.
Back to the hotel. You have to
I assumed there was going to be like one bus for all of the All-Stars, and I didn't know which order we were. But every All-Star has their own, which does make sense, because the lines are very long. I would say for the All-Stars, we did get on the bus right away, but I would say there are a lot of people who stay at the value resorts, of course. So I guess in that sense, like you have so many people staying that they kind of have to have their own individual buses, or else the buses would be too full. So when we got back, it was me, Shannon, Tyler, and Caitlin were in one room, and there was like, all right, who wants to shower first? And they were like, oh, you can shower first to me. So I showered first. I was trying to shower as quickly as I possibly could. So I was like, all right, everyone else is going to be showering. At this point, it's around like 10:30 at night, right? So when I get out of the shower, I noticed that because I only closed the shower door, not the bathroom door. And so like there's the toilet and the shower in one room, and then there's like a sink. Right. And so I didn't close the sink door though. So when I opened up the shower door, I noticed, well, at first I heard there was noise going outside in the bedroom. Didn't think anything of it though. But when I opened up the shower door to go out, I realized that the other door was closed, and I was just like, oh, that's weird. Like, why is this door closed? I'm like, I didn't close that. And then I thought maybe it was like, oh, maybe they closed it because it's like they thought maybe I was going to change or something, and I forgot to close it. But then it got really quiet too. So when I opened the door, it was very cute, but they had decorated the bed with like these bridal pillows. I'm going to show my mom the photo. But it's like these Mickey pillows, like not pillows, sorry, the balloons. Some balloons that said bride and like a little ring and stuff like that around the bed.
Oh, how cute.
So Tyler had brought all of these balloons essentially, and they were saying that balloons only came with like 2 straws to like blow into them to blow them up. Gosh. So only Tyler and Ariana were blowing up the balloons frantically. And they said when the shower shut off, Tyler was like, get the balloons on the bed, and they were throwing the balloons to the bed to quickly set them up before it came out.
That's cool.
Which is real fun. I think they have a video of me coming out, but I'm just like, luckily I was dressed, but I was just like, I didn't just come out in a towel because I had brought my little pajamas with me into the bathroom. But yeah, and they were saying like, we thought we were going to take a longer shower, and I'm like, I was trying to be fast because you guys,
right? Oh, that was nice.
But I have videos of them like staying there with all the balloons and everything. There were so many balloons though. It was so funny because we already had like 4 people with all of our suitcases and stuff, and now all these balloons are everywhere. And then it's funny because Tyler Tyler, he told me at that point, he was like, I bought balloons to bring on the ship as well to kind of do something for the ship. And it turns out, well, you cannot bring balloons on a cruise ship. That's one of the banned products. And so that's why there were so many on the bed here, because he was like, I was going to do some for our room on the ship. And he was like, no, we had to do all the balloons now. But he did bring some balloons and he didn't blow them up, and he got rid of the tubes so we couldn't blow them up, so we could bring the new balloons fully packaged onto the ship. So he gave me some of them to bring home. I have some of them still, some of the Mickey ones. What was also funny about this too is that when we got, sorry to back up for 1 second about the balloons, when we got, just me being oblivious, but when we got back from Magic Kingdom and we were going to the room, Tyler had sprinted off the bus, and I thought he had to go to the bathroom because that's what he told me. So he was going to the bathroom. We got off the bus. It turns out he was at the front desk. So in my head, I was like, oh, he went to the bathroom, had to get to the front desk. But when we had checked in the day before, they told us they were going to give us luggage tags. So I thought he was checking for the luggage tags. So we're kind of all walking back towards the room. I kind of stopped because I'm like, oh wait, should I wait for Tyler? And then Shannon's like, oh, I'll go wait for him. And she starts to walk back towards me. Now we're a distance away from each other, and I start to walk towards Shannon, and Shannon kind of stops, and she's just looking at me. But she's like, it's okay, you can go back. Like, I'll wait for him. And then I'm kind of just standing there looking at her, being like, okay, like whatever. Yeah. And then Tyler comes around the corner, and then I was just like, oh, he's here, so it's no worries. So I just immediately turn around. It turns out one of the balloons didn't get to Tyler on time, so he shipped the balloons to the hotel. And so that's why he was checking the front desk to see if the balloons were delivered, because he got the Amazon saying it was delivered. And so that's why he was at the front desk. But it turns out they delivered the balloons straight to our room because we had already checked in.
So somebody had to get there before you.
So that's why Tyler then zoomed in front of me, didn't even know what was going on. Let me tell you something. Because later on when Shannon told me that, she didn't want me to go to the front desk to see what he was doing. And that's why she kind of stopped. And I told her, I was like, I thought that was kind of like, not that I even thought it was weird. I was just like, oh, like
your
what's
mind
going on?
A little bit,
I was like, well, looking back, I'm like, it was kind of weird that she was kind of just like stopped and like kind of like went back and forth for a second because she didn't know what to do. In the moment she was like panicking internally. I was like, she can't see what's at the front desk, but I didn't even know anything. And then when I said something about the luggage tags, she just said to Tyler when he came over, she was like, oh, did you get the luggage tags? And he just was like, oh no, they didn't have the luggage tags. But again, looking back, I realized his expression was that that was like new information to him. That's not what he was doing. So, but also in case anyone was interested, we did not get the luggage tags. They didn't have any.
So that was good.
Yeah, so they surprised me that, which was very cute though. So, all right. So I know we're already 40 minutes in. This is going to be a long podcast. We only have one more day technically to go through. So, all right. So we go to bed. The next day, Hollywood Studios opens up a full hour after Animal Kingdom. It opens up at 9. So we had more time in the morning. However, I suggested to everyone that if they wanted to, we could get up at the same time and go have a proper breakfast at the Art of, the
cafe.
I keep saying Art of Sports because that's Art of Animation. Yeah. All Star Sports. So we had everyone had a proper breakfast, which I think set us up for success later in the day. Because I think the previous day we didn't have proper breakfasts. So like the first real meal we ate was Cosmic Rays technically at 4 o'clock. Tough. And we just snacked kind of throughout the day. And lots of people got different snacks throughout the day too. But yeah, so we had a proper breakfast. We headed over to Hollywood Studios. We got to Hollywood Studios right at 8:30, honestly. And the first thing we did was we basically rope dropped Tower of Terror. So this was the same thing. So as you get more, you can kind of do all of Sunset Boulevard and all of Hollywood Boulevard as the like non-guest, so to speak. They were letting everyone in the park. But as soon as we were getting closer to the rides, then they scanned my badge, just mine. They didn't scan everyone else's, and we were all allowed to get online. However, they had a secondary line on Sunset Boulevard for people who were not staying on a Disney property.
They had to wait for
They had like another line there. Right. So it's like if you were not on property, they had like a separate line for you to like wait on if you wanted to do Tower of Terror first, for instance. We went on Tower of Terror. We did not do the pre-show of Tower of Terror, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know if that's just like a rope drop thing. I'm not really sure. I haven't
Could be.
Yeah, I haven't rope dropped the park so early. So yes, we did that. Everyone loved the Tower of Terror. That is honestly one of the most fun rides. Like it's just like such a thrilling ride. And even Allison could go on that because Allison just can't do roller coasters. So she still went on that too. And she said too, it was very fun. So everyone had a really great time on that. Then when we got out, there's a Joffrey's coffee stand right there. So everyone got coffee. And then we headed over to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, one of the hardest queues in all of Disney World, I think. So we did wait on the queue. It was fine. It was moving. So I think we waited maybe less than 30 minutes on the line.
That's not bad on that.
But you feel it because you're in the sun.
But it's the heat. You're in the sun and it was hot.
So everyone knew this is one of my favorite, my absolute favorite ride in all of the parks. So everyone said they thought it was really cute and they didn't expect like what the ride was going to be because this was the first trackless ride that everyone was seeing too. So it's like when you go on the first trackless ride, it's very interesting. Different. You're like, what's going on? Like it spins you around a lot, of course, too. It's like, it's very, because as we're getting on the ride, sometimes I would tell people, it's like, all right, if you want to take off your ears and hat, like you should probably take it off.
Because they're going to be blown right off.
Yeah, I've had my ears fall off my head on Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. So again, it was one of those things too. Was like sometimes when people would ask like what type of ride it is, I didn't want to give too much because like sometimes it's fun when it's a surprise, but other times it's like, no, people need to know just in case. So, all right, so from here, a lot of my friends are big Muppets fans. So we headed over to Grand Avenue to do Muppets Vision 3D. We saw Muppets Vision 3D. Honestly, it is a great show. It's very sad that it's closing and they're not going to, I don't know if they're going to bring the theater anywhere or anything like that, but the whole theater is like involved in the show. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do. But we did Muppet Vision 3D. We took a lot of photos. We took photos in front of like Kermit the Frog. We took photos in front of the statue. A lot of really cute photos actually came out of Muppets. And then from there, then we had our single pass for Rise of the Resistance. So we headed over to Galaxy's Edge and did Rise of the Resistance. It's funny because earlier in the day, the ride was actually closed. So I was a little bit worried.
Oh.
And so that's actually why I was just like, let's do Muppets 3D first, guys, because the ride was closed. So we couldn't have done Rise of the Resistance anyway. Went over and did that. Again, such a cool ride. Again, that was another one. People were like, what kind of ride is this? And I was like, I don't know how to explain it because it's a whole experience.
Tough to explain.
It was a whole experience for sure. But it was very fun though. And then again, it's like, you know, when they had the little drop on that, some people knew it was like, we're going to drop. This is going to happen. And when the drop happens, it's still very thrilling. Yeah. I would say it was also fun to be with 8 people because there were a lot of times when we would get our own cart, you know, because it's like 4 and 4 is a lot of the rides. So we would often have our own thing. So it was just us in it, which is very fun too. And makes it easier for me to take videos and photos because like I don't have to worry about people who don't want to be photographed by a stranger or something like that. So it was really fun. And then at this point, it was already almost 11:30. So we had to leave Hollywood Studios at 12 to make our 1 p.m. or around our 1 p.m. Lightning Lane for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in Epcot. So at this point, we could not do Smuggler's Run, sadly. We couldn't do Toy Story Mania either. And Rock and Roller Coaster was actually closed the entire day. So don't know what was going on with that ride, but the whole day it was closed. So we didn't do that anyway. And we didn't do Star Tours either. So instead, with the last half hour, we just walked around Galaxy's Edge and it was really great. I saw the Mandalorian and Grogu. A lot of my friends took photos and videos because I started crying when I saw them. I don't know why, I just got really emotional. It was just very exciting. I feel like the last time when I saw them, there's such a big crowd always around the Mandalorian and Grogu that I didn't see them really at all. Like me and Dad were so separated from them. But when he came out, there was no one around him. So it's just very shocking to see him. And I think it was just like, oh my God, like he's here. And then I couldn't stop crying for some reason. I felt so silly. And so they were trying to get his attention because again, he's a wandering character. And so he chooses who he will take photos with and not. So usually it's always with kids. But everyone was just like, she's getting married. So like they would stop for me. I think when the Mandalorian saw me, his name was Din Djarin technically. When Din saw me and I was crying, I was just like, he obviously stopped and we took a photo. And I could tell he was trying so hard to like make a moment for me because he put his hand on my shoulder and he said like, he's like, this is the way. And it's like, which is like one of the lines from him. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, you don't have to do this. Like, I'm sorry. I'm crying in front of you. I feel so silly. But I was like, I just couldn't stop for some reason. I felt so silly though. But it was a very cute moment though. And I do appreciate that like Disney tries to make you the moment when they know it's like very special to you. So it was very sweet. So we did all of Galaxy's Edge. We got like food there. Some people got souvenirs. A lot of people got the blue milk. And then Mia also got these pretzel bites as well. And so then, again, we took more photos in front of basically everything in there, and then we started to head out. So we walked through Toy Story Land just to head out, just so people could like walk through Toy Story Land. And I told everyone too, is like, get ready because there's no shade in Toy Story Land.
That's the hottest land.
I remember we were reapplying sunscreen in the under the umbrellas in Galaxy's Edge, being like, all right, with the whole walk back, there's basically gonna be no shade. So like the time is now to protect your skin. So we did that. We saw Toy Story Land. It is really cool to see Toy Story Land, but sadly, again, we just had no time to do Toy Story Land. So we headed out. And one of the biggest things that Allison wanted to do was the Skyliner. So we went over to Skyliner. We got into the Skyliner. It was fun for me too because I never really take the Skyliner, honestly. And the Skyliner in total, I think it was like 15 to 20 minutes between.
That's not bad.
Yeah, between Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Again, it depends on the lines. No lines, of course. And because there's 8 of us, we got our own private Skyliner. We didn't have to share with anyone. Although that time of day when we were around there, like around noon, you wouldn't really have to share anyway.
Most people are not taking it. It's usually in the morning and at night. Yeah. It's the worst.
So it was 12:30 when we got on the Skyliner. Then you get to first, I think it's 2 Pop Centuries, what it was, and you switch Skyliners there. So you have to physically get off, walk like over basically in like the same, little terminal, and you get on the other one. Right. And then when you get on that one, you go through Riviera. So we go to Riviera and then it just like kind of goes slowly through Riviera, but you just stay on. Like when the doors opened, the cast member said like, we're, going to Riviera, you're going to Epcot. And we said Epcot, and they're like, just stay on then, and you just stay on. It takes you to Epcot. So we headed over to Epcot. First thing we did was Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Shannon and Ariana are big Remy fans. I think this is where Shannon spent the most money on souvenirs this year. No. So lots of money was spent on souvenirs here because everyone loves Remy so much, which I think is worth it because he's such a cute character. We went on the ride. The ride was honestly so cute. I still love this ride so much. And then this was the big run because from here I think we only had maybe like less than 20 minutes between from this ride to the end of the Spaceship Earth multi-pass. So it wasn't even like the beginning, it was the end of the pass. So I told everyone, I was like, all right, we're in France right now. We have to cross the entire park to the Epcot ball. It's what they call it, Spaceship Earth, but to Spaceship Earth. So I was like, get ready because we need to scoot the boot. We're gonna scoot our little boots all the way over. I was like, don't look at anything else. Nothing everything exists. We
Right,
got to
we'll
get
see it
there
later.
in the sun. So everyone sprinted over. Let's see if I can pick out the time actually here. At 1:19, we were on Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and by 1:45, we were on Spaceship Earth. So within about 15 to 20 minutes, we made it all the way over. We got into Spaceship Earth. That was one of Caitlin's number one thing she wanted to do, was because she just wanted to see what was inside the Epcot ball. Was her big thing.
Well, the good thing about that is after you did that long run in the heat, at least you got to sit inside.
So no one really got to see anything else. Like, we skipped the UK, we skipped Canada, we went past all of the festival booths, obviously, all of World Celebration, and we got into Spaceship Earth. Everyone loves Spaceship Earth, though. I think that's such a great ride. That's another ride where we got stopped constantly on the ride, though.
Yeah,
so we
that
took
happens.
lots of little breaks on the ride, which was annoying only in the sense because we had more lightning lanes to get to. But it was also funny too, because everyone was like, how come the ride keeps stopping? And I'm like, honestly, this ride just stops a lot. I was like, I have
it's
no
to
answer.
let people on who can't use that.
Yes.
They have to stop it to let the old people that need scooters, wheelchairs, whatever.
But because we stopped so often, I thought we would have time by when we got to the land to take a break, but we didn't, because then we were at the end of the Soarin' lightning lane. So again, you see the common thread here. We were always kind of rushing to each ride. So we did Soarin', then I told everyone, it's like, after Soarin', I promise we can stop at Sunshine Seasons and we'll get food and we'll take a break. At this point, we actually did have the Living with the Land lightning lane right after Soarin', because I had planned those two to be together, but I just moved Living with the Land till later in the day. I was like, no, everyone, let's at least have like a full hour break. So we did Soarin'. Everyone loved Soarin' as well. But it's one of those rides where if you've already been on Flight of Passage, Soarin' is not as thrilling because it's the same ride structure.
Same ride structure.
So the same ride structure, and like the thrillingness of being on the Banshee, and like, the whole, you're in a fake world, obviously. It's very different from, like, again, it's still very thrilling, but you can tell it's like, I think if you had done Soarin' first and then done that, I think you would have thought Flight of Passage was even better or something like that, or thought Soarin' was better, but it just depends. But again, everyone still really loves Soarin' too. It's really cool. Apparently, I didn't sit next to Shannon, but apparently Shannon kept like flinching at all the jump scares, is what Tyler told me afterwards, is that there was a few of them that was just like, oh wow. But every transition is a jump scare basically. Right. So then we went to Sunshine Seasons, and I got the kids mac and cheese again, and that came with green beans. So I got it with green beans. Everyone else got different food. But what happened was that when we were trying to find a table for 8 people, because it was already at this point, it was 3:00 around this point, but it was pretty crowded because it was hot outside. And so we ended up putting some tables together, but the way that the table was, it was kind of far from me. And so my plate was sort of half on the table, half off the table. So I went to go fork like my mac and cheese.
Oh, don't tell me
it tipped over and it fell. And so I landed on my foot, and like half the mac and cheese was on the floor and half the green beans were on the floor. So it's funny because then I leaned down to pick it up. But when I looked up, Ariana was coming over, and I just looked up to her. I was like, don't look at me, because like, not my shame that I spilled my food all over the floor, which was so funny because then I, then I was trying to clean up all my mac and cheese and stuff like that. I forgot to say early in the day when we were in the Contemporary, Caitlin got a cupcake and she let Mia take a bite of the cupcake. And then the way Caitlin took the cupcake back, they dropped the cupcake on the floor, icing down. So this was
you people were making a mess everywhere.
I love the thing. And I have that video too. That's actually in the one of the edits I did. Is like, that's like Mia leaning over being like, you dropped the cupcake.
Wasting a lot of expensive food.
So I had half my green beans, half my mac and cheese, and it was still very good. But then Allison actually stayed here in the land when the rest of us ran over to Guardians of the Galaxy to do our single pass for Guardians of the Galaxy. That ended up being like a lot of people's favorite ride. I think that was like molded. Like,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
I think
Really?
Caitlin, like Tyler, Shannon, Ariana, even I think everyone said that was like one of their favorite rides. And so it's funny because before we got on the ride, Mia was really nervous about getting sick on this ride because I told her like some people do get motion sickness on it, just the way it moves. So she was really nervous, and we were joking, being like, "We'll sit in the back in case you throw up on the people behind us." So no one got sick on this ride, obviously. Okay. Everyone really loved it, but it was funny because 7 of us went on, so statistically one person was going to get sick, and it was actually Allegra. So when we got off, she did not really feel well. She wasn't sick or anything, but she said she didn't feel well. Like she could tell she was off.
It kind of sends your
balance off. And I told her,
off.
it's just like, I know what you mean that you feel off. And it was like, I want to tell her, I was like, you'll be fine. It's like, drink some water and everything. And she sat down and she was fine. Like she didn't make a big deal about it at all or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But it was just funny that it was like, we all thought it was going to be Mia. Then we got off, it was actually Allegra, who was like, wow, like she was like, I did not like that. Yeah. She was like, yeah. I was like, no, that's okay. It is no worries at all. And I think we got Disco Inferno on that song. Now I always tell my mom that when I go on this ride, I don't hear the song. The song doesn't exist for me. Noise doesn't exist on this ride for some reason. I don't hear any noise whatsoever. But I only know because Tyler kind of told me afterwards what it was.
What the music
and
was.
I recorded the whole thing too. So that I have it like on recording, I can listen back and I know what song. So then we walked back to the land, and then we did Living with the Land, except for Allegra, because she decided that she just wanted to sit down for a little bit. Because she did ask like, what kind of ride is Living with the Land? I told her it's like, it's a boat ride. Like it's a small world. Like I told her, I promise you, it's very slow moving. You don't get wet at all. No drops.
Wet, no rocking.
But she still decided, she's like, I think we're just going to sit down. And she's like, that's okay, no worries at all. So we went on Living with the Land. And so we went through that. I love Living with the Land. That's one of my favorite rides. And because it's the Flower and Garden Festival, it's like all decorated for Flower and Garden Festival. So there was tons more orchids than there normally are. All the orchids in the world.
The Flower and Garden
Festival. Like a whole
Festival.
tree of orchids. It was so pretty.
Yes.
And they had like the princesses. So there was a whole Moana section. There was a whole, I think, Sleeping Beauty section, a whole Rapunzel section,
that's cool.
Tiana section. It was like those rooms were like decorated for those princesses. places, which I just love how they do that. So love living with the land. And then we headed over to the Finding Nemo ride. Now it's funny, I always like to tell people that you can tell that Disney did not invest a lot of money into this ride in comparison to other rides. I think as a standalone ride, it's fine, but if you compare it to other rides, it's like, wow, there's not much going on in this ride at all. Especially that room with Rush where you're just in a long tube of a screen of bubbles. Not really that great with Love. So anyway, though, we went on that ride and then we looked at some of the fish that were in that ride too. And then Mia got one of those sugar things, which is so funny because everyone's just like, you're going to just eat a thing of sugar. She was like, yes. So she got a sugar thing. And then we walked through the Journey of Water, which was very fun too. It's always fun to look at all the interactions of the water and stuff like that. So I love that. And then we went to the Starbucks that's in there because some people wanted coffee. So at this point it was 7:45 at night. So we decided to go get coffee. We saw our family friends again, which is so funny. To run in them 2 days in a row in 2 different parks and very specific areas.
Are just like phenomenal.
So we saw them again. So I said hi to them. And then we were actually heading over from Starbucks to the Coca-Cola thing so we could all taste the different Cokes. So that was actually really fun because I've actually never tasted all of the Cokes, but I actually tasted all of them. I took a little sips of all of them.
Okay.
I think my favorite one was the Sprite, which makes sense because I love Sprite, but it was the Russia Sprite. Basically a Sprite with a little bit of cucumber in it. Nothing too crazy. But we all tasted all of them and it was funny. I think to me the worst one was China, honestly.
I remember that. China was my worst
China
one too.
has like soy sauce sort of in it and it's very strong as all. I didn't like it because a lot of people don't like Beverly. I didn't like Beverly. It's the Italian one because they're very bitter. I didn't like Beverly either, but I think China was when I was just like, oh, I really didn't like that. And Allegra always loves it because like whenever I don't like a food, I have a very strong facial expression to the food. So she was hysterical when I was like drinking this. And when I drank the China one, I was like, do you want to taste it? She's like, no.
If they're looking at you, why would I?
No, I'm not tasting it. Right. But then Allison and Caitlin said they thought China was not as bad. They both liked it okay. But I was just like, no, I couldn't do it.
Well, taste buds are all different.
So then we headed over to Figment. As you can see, we're going from ride to ride. We're really, there's nonstop for these people. It's like I told them, like, you get no breaks. We're going ride to ride. Went over to Figment. Everyone really loved Figment. It's funny because when Ted first went on Figment, he thought Figment was kind of weird is what he told me. He was like, he didn't really get it. And I'm like, he's just a little fictional dragon of imagination. He's your figment of imagination, you know? But everyone else loved Figment. So I was glad we did Figment. And then we spent some time in like the little room doing some of that stuff. We all went to the bathroom multiple times too because we were drinking so much water. So now at this point, we're done with the lightning lanes. So it's like, now I'm like, wow, so exciting. We're done with the lightning lanes and it's 7:00. So at 7:00, Tyler got an espresso martini from Joffrey's and I took a little video of him doing like, drinking his espresso martini. Then we went into Mexico. Some people got drinks in Mexico. It turns out some of them took a shot in Mexico, which I didn't know about that, but they went to the tequila bar and they all took a shot. Not all of us took a shot. I was not doing a shot. And then they also got drinks as well. And we did the little ride in Mexico. I love that little ride too. And it's fun too because everyone was like, wow, it's a small world. I'm like, yeah, basically. Then we head over to Norway. Now I have always wanted to try the chocolate chip cookie that's at the Kringla Bakery in Norway. The last time when we went, the line was like out the door and around the building. So we didn't go in. But I heard the cookie was really good. So I really want to try it. So I went in there. I got a cookie. Some other people got snacks as well. Now around this time, this is when my friend Allison was saying, it's like, we should really be like getting food. She was like, we should have dinner soon. It's like, it's time to like have like a proper dinner, not just like as we've been snacking for most of the day. So like, for sure. So I was trying to explain to them, like, there's festival booths, there's quick services. It depends on what type of food people want to eat is the thing. So we were kind of going through all the pavilions. We're sort of deciding. Then we headed over to China because China did have the vegetable dumplings, which are some of my favorite vegetable dumplings in the whole world. I wish that was a staple on the menu all the time, but it's not. We headed over there, and at this point, we realized it was almost 8:30. It was like 8. Oh yeah, wait, what time was it here?
Fireworks showtime.
At this point, by the time we got to China, it was 8:14, 8:15, and that's when by the time we were done with China, it was 8:30, and that's when I realized why Allison was kind of saying like we should be getting food because the park closes. Food? So everyone got only the little thing though, so it wasn't a lot of food. It wasn't like a proper dinner. So at this point, I was just like, oh yeah, we need to like book it because it's like now no one has eaten dinner. The park closes in 30 minutes, and the fireworks are also in 30 minutes. So looking back, we're like, where did the time go? It's like we thought we had 2 hours to do the countries, and it turns out we spent a full hour in Mexico. Not sure how that happens.
That's what happens.
We spent a full hour standing around Mexico, and Shannon said too, there's a point in Mexico we were all standing just talking was the thing, as some of them were drinking, and so she's like, I think we were all just like hanging out. Basically, we just hung out in Mexico for way too long. We hung out in Mexico. Now it's 8:30. I'm like, all right, so now we're gonna zoom around the countries. I'm gonna look for food now. Like food was number one priority. So I was like, what type of food do people want to eat? We're gonna eat German food. Sorry to Germany, did not stop in Germany. I made them stop to take a selfie, and then some people stopped in Italy to get some of the festival booths in Italy. At this point, Tyler was still desperately trying to drink around the world. I was like, let it go, my man. I was like, we don't have time for it.
You're not gonna make it.
He didn't get anything in Germany. Germany is mainly beer, so he didn't get anything in Germany. He did get a drink in Italy though, and then Ariana stopped in Italy too, and Shannon stopped in Italy, and that's when initially we had all stopped, and we were like, no, we all can't stop.
Yes, the pizza window wasn't open.
It was, but it was in the back was the thing. But we ended up kept going. So I was just like, we can go to Regal Eagle Smokehouse because I know they have very good food. But things are they have barbecue food though, and they didn't have anything vegetarian, which I didn't know that when we got there because I had never eaten really there before.
Told you that.
So when we got there. They didn't have any vegetarian food, but they did have like one of those beer cheese fries. So they got one of those that we ate on the way to Morocco. So Morocco normally has a falafel dish. They did not have the falafel dish because that's what I wanted to have. So we like skipped over Japan to get to Morocco. So then Allegra went back to Japan to get sushi, or like one of those like little like vegetables and sushi. Some of us stayed in Morocco. So Allison and Caitlin got like the chicken skewers in Morocco. I don't remember what Mia ate. Mia did eat food that day, but I have no memory of what she ate. Ariana, I know, got ravioli when she was in Italy. By the time Shannon and Tyler got back to us in Morocco, they went actually back to Italy to get the pizza in the window all the way in the back, which I forgot about, honestly. And then at that point, we were just sat in Morocco. Now it's 8:54 in Morocco. Fireworks are going to start in a few minutes. So I will say too, at this point, I noticed the park was very empty. There was really no one in the park at this time. Like when we were in Morocco, no lines, no people, no crowds. When we watched the fireworks, there was only like one people right in front of the fence. It wasn't like groups of people. Right. It was very empty, I would say. I'm not really sure why. I mean, like it was a Sunday night, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe because it was too hot.
Maybe, I don't know. So we stopped. We watched Luminous. Luminous is a good show. I think it's good. I would say it's not like my favorite or anything like that. It's not happily ever after.
I think that's a lot of people's opinion. Maybe that's why it wasn't that crowded at that kind of
with
that kind of heat. When you're in the park all day, it's like, do we need to stay here and see this? Let's go back to our hotel.
So again, we didn't do much. We kind of just like watched it from that point, and then we started to head out because obviously now the park's closed, right? So like the show ended at 9:20. So then I made everyone take a selfie in every pavilion though. So we stopped in France, took a quick selfie in France, took a quick selfie in the UK, took a quick selfie in Canada. I have all these like one after the other selfies. I'm just like, I don't care. It's like we're still taking the selfies even though we did not go around the world together. Right. So then on our way out of the park, now it's like almost 9:40. Like it took us a long time to get to that because now we're leisuring, right? We were leisuring out of the park. We went to the bathrooms and everything. Some people still had food that they were eating. And so then we took a photo in front of the Figment topiary with like the Epcot ball behind us. We had some people take photos of us. Then we did like a whole photo shoot with the Epcot ball here, standing in World Celebration. We were there, I think, for almost 10 minutes taking photos, like looking at this. It was so funny. Then we headed out of the park and we went to the buses. Now, when we got to the buses, the Artist Sports buses are like the last buses, right? Because you're the Valley Resort, whatever, fine. Each of them, again, sports, music, and movies all have their own lines. The movies and music lines were a little bit shorter than the sports lines. So I'm assuming maybe that's because of price or because of the rooms again. So that's why a lot more people are staying at sports. And so we didn't make the first bus, which we knew we were not going to make the first bus. On the second bus, I can't explain it, but it was taking a very long time to put the people in wheelchairs on the bus. Like the wheelchairs were taking an exorbitantly long time. Like the other bus like loaded their people and left before they even finished the wheelchairs for our bus because the three buses got there at the same time, which is very strange, I guess, to me. So to the point where as we were waiting, the music one, or I think it was the music or the movies one, I'm blank. I think it was the movies one. The movies one came up and Tyler said, the movies backs up to our resort. He's like, all we would have to do is walk through the parking lot back to our resort. Should we just get on the movies bus? And so looking at the line, we probably could have made the sports bus, but we would have been standing. And we're like, we've been doing a lot of standing. So we ducked under the thing and we went on the sports, and a few people followed us as well. We ducked the thing, got on the movies bus, and a few people followed us well onto the movies bus, and we did. So we went back to All-Star Movies, sitting down in seats, which is very nice just to sit for a little bit. And again, the buses were very nice air conditioned this time. The funniest part to me is that when we got off, All-Star Movies looks exactly the same as All-Star Sports. The whole marquee, the coloring, the stars, exactly. It's the exact same resort. I'm assuming music is the same way, exactly the same. The only thing that's different is just like the walls are painted for movies rather than painted for sports. Okay. And I just thought that was funny because I didn't know that. So I was just like, wow, I did not expect it to be exactly the same. So we did. So we turned around instead of going into the resort. We turned around, we walked through the parking lot, and you could see sports across the way. So it was very easy for us to walk towards the sports. And then where our room was just happened to be on the edge of the parking lot. So we actually got to our room faster in that sense. So it wasn't that bad. So we went over there. Tyler and Allegra swear they saw a monkey in the parking lot. They both swear that they saw a monkey.
A monkey.
Now, they had both been drinking this whole night too, right? So I don't know what they saw.
Maybe it was another animal.
But they both swore they saw a monkey, and they were both like, what was that monkey? And so we tried to look it up online. I think maybe it was a possum. We're not really sure. But then someone else looked it up online, and apparently there are monkeys in Florida, like wild monkeys that don't like, or animals that look like monkeys. Okay. The world may never know what they saw.
What they saw. Okay, but
according
to
them, they saw a monkey though. So we got back to the resort. Honestly, we were up so late because at that point then it's like by the time we got back, it was like, wait, what time is it? It's 10:30 by the time we got back to the resort. People were in the pool, so I was like, I guess you could go to the pool because the pool was closed at 11. So everyone showered, of course. We were hanging out. We were just like talking in our rooms and stuff like that. We didn't get to bed until like 1 a.m. And then the next morning, Ariana had to get up very early for her flight. So we said goodbye to her the night before. Allegra's flight was next. So I said goodbye to Allegra privately, just like outside the rooms when she left. And then my other 3 Boston friends, their flight wasn't until the evening. So they were going to to do, like, you know, spend just the day in Florida doing Florida stuff, either going to the pools or shopping or whatever it may be. And then me, Shannon, and Tyler were leaving for the Disney Wish. And so that will be our next podcast episode, is when we leave for the Disney Wish. But yeah, but that was our 2.5 packed full days in Disney World, forcing my friends to run from ride to ride, no food, no water, no breaks.
It was funny during these. I mean, I missed talking to Amanda all week. I didn't really talk to her at all, but she, every once in a while, she'd send a text or a little picture. But we have Find My Phone. So, you know, I'd be thinking about her and I'd be, I wonder what they're doing now. And the only way I could tell, because she wasn't posting anything really, was to get on Find My Friends and see where she was. It's like, oh, look, they're on Haunted Mansion. Oh, look, they're here. Oh, look, they're doing this. So I could kind of tell where you were and where you were going by doing that. And I was like, wow, she's whipping them around those parks.
Yeah, like I said, like little workhorses. I'm like, let's go. No breaks. Get to the next ride.
I said, Amanda's like a little Energizer bunny. I said, sometimes I have to say to her, Amanda, we have to sit down. I have to sit down.
It's one of those things where it's like, there's many ways to do Disney. It's like, you can do it the way we did it, where it's like ride to ride. You can do it more relaxed, where you're not really going on the rides. You're eating food. You're enjoying the atmosphere more. But I feel like since it was a lot of people's first times going to the parks as adults, it's like, or let's get all of the rides out of the way. So when you come back as an adult, you already kind of know what you liked,
what you know what you like, you know what you're going to do.
It's like we got the majority of the parks done.
Right.
I do think we did so much in 2 days too, which is just crazy. It's
you
like
did.
Looking back, they were
especially in that heat.
Days, in the heat, in like 95-degree heat the whole time, like no clouds. It's like there was no clouds.
I'm
no
sure
breeze.
Everybody went home and went, I need to rest.
Exhausted. It's time to just like to sit down for a little bit. Like people's feet had like I think Caitlin had blisters on her feet. It was just like it was intense. It was an intense time. But I just want to say again, thank you so much to all my friends who like you know, like little workhorses packed their way around the 4 Disney parks, squeezed in so much into those 2 days. Again, I think everyone had a good time. So hopefully everyone had fun. I know I had a really great time as well. I took so many photos and videos, and I will have a whole like highlight on my Instagram. I've been posting lots of photos and videos.
Well,
too,
the
from
thing
the
is that you didn't run them around the parks for 2 days because you wanted to do it. You, like you said, we go all the time. You can do whatever you want when you want. You wanted them to have a good experience, and you know, being at Disney and getting to get a taste of everything. So I think that I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm glad everyone's had a good time as well. So or at least I think everyone had a good time. So, but again, I know I had a good time. But again, it's like this was a whole hour-long podcast, right? For 2 days. 2 days.
2 days.
We've had more, I guess, than less. But although I guess Universal was like that was 2 days too, and that was like 2 full podcasts. It took 2 hours for that one.
Right.
But yeah, but again, so much fun though. So I'd say this is also I'm just like babbling now. But yeah, but again, we had a really great time. Thank you again to all of my friends who came down to celebrate my bachelorette in Disney World. Again, this was like a dream trip for me to go with all of my friends to Disney World. Again, missing 2 of my friends, my friend Abby and my friend Laura, were not able to come with us, but they were with us in spirit. We did talk about them. We were there, of course. So then I'll have to go to Disney World with them separately, or maybe Disneyland because Laura lives in California.
Right.
So we'll go to Disneyland maybe together, and she can show me Disneyland because I don't know Disneyland as well. But yeah, but it was so much fun though. And again, everyone was saying too how it's so funny how it's like no one had to look at a map. You know, like no maps were not needed.
Personal guide.
Yeah, people were like, we didn't have to ask a single question. It's just like Amanda would just take us around, and I'm like, yep, that's basically it. And I forget who, someone was just like, it was like as if you paid for your personal VIP tour guide. They just like took you around everything. Guide. No questions, no guides.
Those tours are expensive.
Just took them around. So, but we all had a really good time. So I'm glad we were able to do it. So this is a very slightly pre-recorded episode, but also I just have not had time to research lots of Disney news. So no Disney news for this episode. We do have some Disney birthdays. First up on June 9th is Donald and Della Duck's birthday. So happy birthday to Donna and Della Duck. On June 10th, it is Michelle Jones's birthday. She's MJ from the newer Spider-Man series, from like the Tom Holland Spider-Man series. On June 10th, also with Michelle Jones, is our friend Joe's birthday. So Jane's husband, actually Joe, that's his birthday, funny enough. And then on June 15th, we have Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to my dad. He was not featured really at all in this podcast episode, but happy Father's Day to my dad. And also on June 15th was my Aunt Nettie's birthday as well. So happy birthday also to Aunt Nettie. And then usually our final segment of the podcast is our Disney memory. But again, I feel like for me, this whole podcast was
all your memories, honey. So
I know. So
I think we had enough.
But otherwise, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. The next episode will be me going over the Disney Cruise Line portion of the trip. So we're going to be reviewing the Disney Wish and everything about the Disney Cruise Line. So that'll be a really fun episode too. This was my first Disney cruise, so I have lots of thoughts and opinions on it. So we're going to share it all in that episode. It'll be really fun. Okay. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about the Disney cruise in the future because we probably won't fit it all into one podcast. So, but anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you real soon.